This is so much bigger than we expected. Thank you, everyone, for coming. You know, we're going to thank everybody for the heroic deeds, but just the support from the family and friends, all the fellow police officers, medics. We have a construction company and their bosses here, and a lot of the firemen. We've got some fire salespeople that we buy defibs off of that are here. So this is huge. So to start off, I'm the fire chief. I'm Rob Sidlow, and I've got Deputy Chief John Campagna, Deputy Chief Craig Long, Mayor Dean Mazzarella, and Police Chief Aaron Kennedy. They're going to be part of our presentation, and the mayor will get up and say a few words also as soon as I've concluded my opening remarks. So let's get onward. And so normally what we do is we have a yearly awards program in the fire department, and we hold it right here in the fire station. We have Johnny Appleseed, which is our fire patch, and this is our little stage. And we like it because we get to come into our firehouse. We're at ease, we're comfortable, and it kind of welcomes you, and it makes us feel good. But a couple years ago, we decided there would be civilians or police officers that would do heroic deeds throughout the year, and we may not recognize them for a year or 18 months because we would do it around our awards event. So a couple years ago, we decided when an event happens and there's a life saved or a major fire, a major deed is done, we'd like to recognize. That's the one problem. We got interrupted by the dispatchers.
Rescue 2, Engine 3, that's LRLS. 52, first staff, no seizure. Rescue 2, Engine 3, that's LRLS. 52, first staff, no seizure.
So what we've come up with is we're going to recognize the deeds of the civilians, the police officers, and the medics. We're going to congratulate our firefighters, but then our firefighters and some of the other deeds they'll go before a committee, which they may even get a bigger award than what is given today. But we like to have a committee digest the situation and then get better statements. But this is more of these things happen. There's such good deeds that we want to recognize them. We've invited Leominster Cable TV, the media, because what we do and say here today may save another life. Someone may watch this and see that bystanders did CPR, police got involved, fire, medics, may encourage someone to take a CPR course. The fires we have, it may encourage fire safety. So it's kind of twofold. There's definitely want to recognize everybody for what they did, but we also want to get the message out there and, for fire safety, police safety, EMS, we may save, like I said, we may save more lives this way. So we had 4 big incidents. Welcome. Have a seat. How are you? Good. We had 4 big incidents in about a week and a half period. We had 3 serious structure fires, and then we had an accident that was a medical issue, involved an accident, and that would involve CPR and everything. So what I'm going to do is first of all, I'm going to have the mayor come up and say some remarks. And
thank you.
Thank you.
So obviously you just heard the call come in. Imagine being on the other end of that, right? The person that's calling, you could just feel it, right? Somebody's having a seizure, but they're in good hands. That's the one thing I can assure people in Leominster is when they make the call, whether it's a 911 call, the police or fire, a combination of the both, they're in good hands, and we're going to get there and they're going to get the best possible service they can. But this is really, as the chief said, what unusual times. And we've had this, for the last 2 or 3 months, we've had some of these calls, and when I'm getting briefed by either of the chiefs, I'm sitting there thinking, these are incredible stories. Incredible stories. And And I think in society today, we're always wondering whether the everyday person who's just doing their job, when they see something, whether they'll respond, right? We have so many situations where people say, well, nobody called in or nobody stopped to help. Not the case here. Everyday people just jumped into action to do what they could to help. But I just wish more of these stories could generate into the communities, because we have the most, and I say this, and I've been involved in some capacity since 1982, and this group of police officers and firefighters, and I don't mean this as a slight to anybody else that was here long ago, is clearly the most compassionate group we've ever had, clearly. The kindest, most gentle, most patient, and just compassionate group that we've ever had, who go the distance. And sometimes I don't know that, the world sees what, police officers or firefighters or EMT workers do. I don't think so. I see it, and I share those experiences every day of the week. So thank you to all those that kicked into action when you didn't have to. Thank you to the police officers and firefighters who I'm sure would just tell you that's just what we do, that's our job, and we were just doing our job. But every single one of the police officers and firefighters that we have, and volunteers from EMA and our EMTs, go way and above and beyond what their normal job is. And it was funny, we were at Fallbrook last week, and one of the kids said, hey, what's your average day like? And I thought, we've had a couple situations in town here where it wasn't just, and when we started telling them some of the stories, the kids' jaws dropped. They were like, what? We're like, yeah, we had a victim who was unresponsive at first, and these guys working on the construction crew, thank God you were there. Talk about fate. Who's ever working at the landfill, right? Who's ever there on the construction site? Whoever, right? The sheep aren't even there anymore. And you would think, and you tell these kids these stories, and they're like, wow, and the person's alive to tell the story? I'm like, yeah, we have a lot of good stories to tell. So whatever capacity you were involved in, whatever you do every day for your job, thank you. And to the wives and parents that are here, you should be very proud today, extremely proud, because I'm sure they don't come home and brag about what they do. But every day, this is an everyday situation here, every day. Maybe not to the magnitude that you'll hear today, but it is. Thank you.
So a couple quick comments on what the mayor he was talking about is one of the things the mayor and I always have a discussion on is teamwork. Teamwork. So over the last number of years, Deputy Long was the union president, and all the body we've changed the way we respond. We respond a little heavy to calls. So to the public, it's like, why are they sending a fire truck, or why are they sending 2 fire trucks and an ambulance? Why are the police coming? And today's events are exactly why we do that, because they're manpower, labor intensive. You need to get there quick. You need to have enough hands, and you need to have the right equipment. And with the mayor and the city council in Leominster, we've been very fortunate that we've gotten the equipment, and then working with the firefighters, all the officers and firefighters in the fire department, the police officers, is we're responding, and I think we're working much more cohesively. And it's a tribute to the generations before us, because each generation has brought it up a little better, and hopefully we'll leave a little better before we leave.
And they're saving lives. That's the true testament to this thing. This teamwork is saving lives for people out there. No other word needs to be said.
And when I speak, in front of like our Memorial Sunday or whatever, is every day the department, us and the police, Leominster is a busy place. Every day they are saving lives, they are saving property. Today we'll mention a few of the incidents, but it is on a daily basis. And I get up here and I am proud, because they do a really professional job. So thanks again. Craig's smirking a little. That's because, we fight a little. Not everything they do is, or I do is right.
Diplomatic.
Yeah. We get the job done, though. So I'm going to talk first about the fires and give you my perspective from the chief's perspective of the fires, and then we'll do the individual awards and maybe talk a little bit about the fires. But so we had 3 serious fires. 2 of them been on YouTube. They've been on the news. One of them was at night, and it was a very serious fire, but it was contained quickly, and it just didn't maybe not get the media attention. One of the things that's happened in the world of firefighting is a lot of plastics. Plastics is in everything. Plastics is in the building material, all the furnishings, toys, everything. The fires that we're responding to and fight are growing so quick, and they're hotter, and they take more manpower to fight. So we had 3 serious fires, and the firefighters in this department, the firefighters in the surrounding mutual aid communities did one heck of a job. We had fire on Church Street. It was a basement fire. Basement fire is very difficult to fight. The call came in for the alarms going off in the building. We received those calls daily. We take everyone serious. It was down the road here. They pull out. They get on scene. We're getting other calls that there may have been an explosion. The engine and the ladder crew get there with the deputy chief, and all of a sudden, boom, they're hit with a serious basement fire and with the person trapped. And, you know, John will get into it a little more in detail, but like clockwork, they did their job, contained that fire at the working fire level, which is everybody on duty contained it. And like I said, John will get a little more into that. Then we had the 2 more that were more publicized. We had Abbey Road. So my point I want to get across about Church Street is smoke alarms. Smoke alarms save lives. The smoke alarms went off, they called us, we knew there was a fire. The Abbey Road fire was 5 o'clock on a Friday afternoon. Started on the outside of the building. Remember I said everything's made of plastic? So all of that siding, decking, roofing material. Before the people on scene, as they were videoing, this erupted into a major serious fire for us. Rapid fire growth. First call to us was the automatic fire alarm system, rang into us, got us on the road. Again, while we were en route, they got the phone calls that there was a fire. The companies on scene, and they'll talk a little more about it, was they put rapid water on the fire. They made a rescue over a balcony, and they contained this serious fire to just a certain section of the building, preserved so much property. Thankfully, everybody was out. We'll talk about the rescues that the police officers and the civilians made. They'll get into that one. My takeaway on that was, sadly, it was a child that accidentally lit the fire. They were playing with a lighter. So smoke detectors, fire safety, it's stuff that we really preach. We try to get out there. So again, media is, this is what we want to make everybody aware of, is, fire safety, smoke detectors. We get a ton of cooking fires, so safety with elderly and cooking and different things. And the last fire I'm going to talk about is Mount Pleasant Avenue. Mount Pleasant Avenue, 12:30 on a Saturday afternoon, sunny, COVID's getting over with, people everywhere. Fire starts in the back of the building. Immediately erupts into a ball of fire on Mount Pleasant Avenue, one of the toughest places to fight a fire, very congested. Mount Pleasant Avenue and Manning Avenue is the site of probably the 2nd biggest fire in the history of Leominster. It took out a bunch of 3-deckers. So as growing up, I've always heard those stories. So responding to this fire in my mind was, this is a tough place to fight fires. The crews on working that day, they got off. Again, everything's plastic, everything's burning like whodunit, applied rapid water, very aggressive interior attack, we call it, was they go inside and they fight this fire in the building, endangering their lives. Everybody was reported out, but we can't take that chance. So the best thing we can do is go in and fight these fires. From the fire chief standpoint was they did a great job by fighting the fire, but we didn't lose any other buildings. And, you know, if it wasn't in Leominster with what we have for staffing and equipment and everything, I'd be pretty confident to say that that would have been a tough fire and we probably would have lost some buildings and who knows, maybe lost a life or something. Take away from there, cigarette smoking. So a lot of the fires we're having is on the outsides of buildings, dry weather, people are smoking and they either think they put it out or something happens, windy day. So, you know, little fire safety message there. So I'm going to turn it over to Deputy Campagna, and he's going to do a little more detail and then present the certificate for 59 Church Street.
Okay, thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's nice to see everyone's face. This is a nice change.
You didn't say that about me.
It's always nice to see your face, Mayor. Always nice to see your face. Yeah. So 59 Church Street happened on May 4th, just after 11:30, I believe it came in. The way it came in was a call for smoke alarms going off in a building and followed by a loud bang sound. The fire alarm operator did an excellent job turning out the companies. The deputy on duty was Scott Cordio. He was the first due deputy. From what he received to what he actually had to the adaptation he made was amazing. I've listened to the audio several times. First due crews were Engine 4 and Ladder 1. Ladder 1 had Lieutenant Steve Preventure, Robbie Griffin, firefighter Robbie Griffin, and firefighter Matt Burke. Engine 4 had Acting Lieutenant Sean Phillips, firefighter Falk, firefighter Tebow, and firefighter Spano. Correct, Steve? These first two companies, the way they adapted and went to work right away, like the chief said, their coordinated efforts and their professionalism, their dedication and their fortitude really came to fruition. Lieutenant Steve Preventure and Acting Lieutenant Sean Phillips got information from a gentleman there named Joseph Law when they first got on scene, who told them that he had gone to try to go to the basement apartment because there was a woman still down there. Joseph Law is the one who we're going to be recognizing for his efforts as a civilian today, because his girlfriend had woken him up, heard smoke alarms in the building. We've gone to that building, like we said, several times for people smoking in the hall or whatever. He went down to check it out. He opened up the back door because he knew that there were people on the first floor who needed assistance, and he couldn't get through this, so he went back around the front and he tried to kick open the door to the basement apartment to get them out, and that's when smoke came billowing out. They relayed the information to the first two companies. The coordinated effort of those first two companies led to, and the brave acts of Joseph Law led to us being able to get that occupant out and transported to the hospital. And I've since spoken to that occupant's daughter, who believes that those efforts on that day contributed to giving her however many days she has left. That's what she said. So to the firefighters on duty, the professionalism, the dedication, and the fortitude came to full fruition. And this is the Joseph Law couldn't make today because he couldn't get out of work because of work shortage. But this is the certificate it's called the Life Saving Award. It's being awarded to Joseph Law for his unselfish act of bravery and fortitude during the incident at 59 Church Street on May 4th, 2021. As a former member, my connection to Group 3 is I came from that group. As a former member of Group 3, I couldn't be prouder. But it's the professionalism starting from the top down, from the chief of the department down, that really, what we emphasize and what we do every day, which made it happen, so. That's pretty much it. Yep. Great job, guys.
Yeah, so we'll switch to the Abbey Road fire. Again, I gave a little brief description of serious fire on the outside of the building and got in there. So our recognition of the heroism that day is, I'm going to start off with it, and I want to verbally commend the crews that were working. It was Group 2. Deputy Burnett was the deputy chief on duty that night. And the Engine 2 crew and the Ladder 1 crew. Engine 2 was Lieutenant Newton was in charge, and Ladder 1 was Lieutenant Brian LeBlanc. I don't see Lieutenant Newton, just Brian here. So Brian's out here. Their crews, when they got there, they had a very serious fire, and the quick action of where they placed the line, how fast they placed the water line, water hose in place, stopped that fire dead in its tracks, and it allowed the firefighters that I just mentioned from the ladder, Lieutenant LeBlanc's crew, to throw ground ladder and take the people off the balcony. So I want to verbally commend them. And like I said, the fire, the way we'll work is we'll write that up and submit it to an internal committee, and further recognition may be, coming. And then, I don't know if anybody saw the YouTube video of that fire. There was 2 that were pretty popular. One was a side view of the fire and how dangerous it was. And then the other view was the police officers and the civilians that were scaling the building up the balcony to take a 97-year-old woman off that balcony. Now, I can tell you that, again, the plastic smoke, the black acrid plastic smoke that was in that fire when I showed up, and it's in a lot of our fires, is it makes it very difficult to operate. So when you see them in the video and that smoke's boiling above their heads and everything, they were putting themselves in danger. So I'm going to have Deputy Campagna will call up. Would you like to do the police officers first?
Sure thing. Yeah.
Sure. I'd like to have Chief Kennedy come up. Chief, would you like to say before we call him up on both incidents?
Yeah, Abbey Road, I got alerted by a person in the press that's friends with me, told me how to watch a video, which I'm always a little sketchy to watch a video this time. But I did, I looked at it, I saw Christian Edge and Mahu Sekhtari running towards Abbey Road, and then I saw the civilians, what they were doing, where they later rescued an elderly tenant who's, I believe her son is a retired state trooper.
Yeah.
They just work great together. Christian Edge is not the first time I have the opportunity to be present where he got an award for life-saving. He's got one from the state already with another officer for his actions where he's gone above and beyond. And it was great to see these 2 guys stepping up when they needed. And the guys who acted on Mechanic Street just blows you away some days, because we're always available, but we never know where the call's going to come in and how quick we can get there. And the guys who stepped up to help with the civilians to do CPR on that gentleman who's, what I heard, is doing great, they stepped up and they perform basically a miracle, I think. And this guy's going to be able to see his family at a later date. So,
Thank you, good Chief. Yeah. So you can stay up with us, and yeah, so if you want to,
Yep.
you want to.
Engine 3, that's SRLS. 100 Warren Tower Plaza in front of TJ Maxx in the Singapore. Trustee 3, Engine 3, that's SRLS. 100 Warren Tower Plaza in front of TJ Maxx in the Singapore.
All right, so this is the life-saving award. The certificate is awarded to Officer Christian Edge for your unselfish act of bravery and fortitude during the incident at 20 Abbey Road on May 7th, 2021. This is the Life-Saving Award. The certificate is awarded to Officer Mario Ziliftari for your unselfish act of bravery and fortitude during the incident at 20 Abbey Road on May 7th, 2021.
All right.
Yes. Now, we'd like to recognize the 2 civilians that were present that day, and if you get a chance, watch the video. It was pretty amazing.
It's like they rehearsed it.
Yeah.
Just climbing up, like you see those guys do the Spider-Man thing, climbing up the side of the building, like, yeah, rehearsed this. Really, right?
It looked good. It was pretty impressive. It was amazing. This is the Life-Saving Award. The certificate is awarded to Armando Delamedia for your unselfish act of bravery and fortitude during the incident at 20 Abbey Road on May 7th, 2021.
Nice job. Congratulations. Thank you.
Nice job, Armando.
Life-Saving Award once again. This certificate is awarded to Hilson Rivera for your unselfish act of bravery and fortitude during the incident at 20 Abbey Road on May 7th, 2021.
Nice job. Thank you. Nice job. So then we'll move on to, so the next incident we had, I was going in chronological order, was the Fire 53 Mount Pleasant Avenue. I gave a little talk about that and everything and how much serious of a fire it was. Again, it was the same crew on duty as Abbey Road. It was Group 2, Deputy Burnett. There was no rescues made at that day, although they did get some animals and everything. But they definitely saved the neighborhood. They saved it from further disaster and everything. And the fire was it was a serious fire. And my hat's off to them. Again, another verbal commend from myself. Great job. Next, we're going to move on to the accident and mechanic in 5th Avenue. And I'd like to bring up Rick Barry. He's the supervisor from MedStar Ambulance. And the way Leominster works is our firefighters are trained at the BLS level. We run the ambulance. And Rick's company provides the paramedics for us. So on a daily basis, we may respond to 10 calls together and work hand in hand with them. And great friends of ours and great company that's provided a great service to the city of Leominster. So, would you like to say a few words first, or I don't want to put you on the spot?
Well, you already did. No, I want to say thank you, obviously, to the chief and to the city of Leominster. We value the relationship with the police department and the fire department. We do a lot of good calls out here, and it always works really well. Especially the civilians, the gentleman that rescued the elderly lady. You know, you guys didn't have your phones out, you weren't recording it, you climbed up the ladder to help take her out. And for the construction workers that we'll hear about in a minute, when somebody goes into cardiac arrest like this person did, we have the chain of survival, and it's early 911, early defibrillation, and early CPR. And these guys had the wherewithal to get the first 3 done. So you're gonna talk about somebody here that, you know, if circumstances were different, their family would be putting their stuff in boxes to give it to charity today, and instead that person's wearing these clothes. So it means a lot for us to have civilians that are paying attention and know what to do, and we obviously encourage everybody to take a CPR, take a Heimlich course, so because you never know when you're just at work one day and this happens. So thank you, guys.
Thank you. Just before Deputy Long starts with the incident, this week is National CPR and Automatic Defibrillator Week. And in here, the statistic was 350,000 people will have a cardiac arrest. Only 11% are saved. And so this is a big event, what was done. You practice that?
Not bad. Thank you, Chief. As the Chief said, we had a serious car accident on Mechanic Street and Fifth Ave, where a person driving his truck lost control, probably had the medical incident prior to crashing into a telephone pole. We were notified by 911 along with the police. Ladder 1, Engine 4, and Rescue 2 responded to the call. Police got there just before us, and when they got there, we had 3 civilians that were trying to do CPR on the gentleman, and like Rick said, you know, early chest compressions, early CPR definitely saved lives. They were able to get the gentleman out of the truck. The police had the AED in their cruiser. They were able to get that on the patient. They were able to shock once, which doesn't always happen, so that was a good thing. The ladder crew, along with the engine, started hooking up. We have a Lucas machine that does compressions, so that we're not doing it manually. It does a much better job than people can do. So they got that on the patient as well. They got another no shock, and as they were getting the patient up onto the stretcher, MedStar was on scene. They jumped into the back of our truck. As we loaded the patient into the truck, his eyes started opening. He started stuttering a few words, which doesn't always happen, so that was nice to see. They were able to start talking to him, get some information on him, monitor him, and at that point, transport him to UMass, where they brought him in. He had surgery, and now he's doing very well. So without, as the chief alluded to, the mayor, without that team effort, without all of those hands on scene, being able to do everything that needs to be done, to get him into that ambulance, to, you know, and get him to the hospital, you know, that might not have been the same outcome. So they did a great job. I happened to be there. There wasn't much for me to do, so I just watched them do their thing. And they did a great job. So with that, we'd like to honor the civilians that were on scene, that responded right over there so quickly, and started giving them the CPR.
Craig, I'm going to bring up the supervisor.
Sure.
Frank, would you like to come up? Ricky, would you like to? Yeah.
So
So this is Frank, is the supervisor, owner of the Blue Diamond. Blue Diamond does a ton of work in Leominster, and Rick Cormier, who oversees all the work at Blue Diamond, he's the supervisor at the water department. Again, I don't want to put you on the spot, but if you'd like to say a few words, fine. If you don't want to.
No problem. We know we have great employees at Blue Diamond. We weren't sure that we actually had heroes, but that's a good name for these guys. They were in the process of working at the landfill. They weren't even scheduled to work that day, but they had been sent up there for an hour to do some repairs to a piece of equipment. They noticed someone crashed their vehicle into a pole. They originally thought it was something other than what it was, but they ran over there and they did what they had to do to save the guy's life. I'm very impressed with my guys.
yes. So with the successful CPR, we would like to honor Kyle LaRue. This is a life-saving award. Certificate is awarded to Kyle LaRue for your quick actions initiating life-saving CPR during the incident at 1 Fifth Ave on May 25th, 2021. And with that, we also give them little red hearts for saving a life. Congratulations. And to John Bastide. Yeah. Certificate award. Sure. Thank you very much. Congratulations. And there was another woman that happened to be driving by. I'm told she lives, I think, in New Hampshire, so she wasn't able to show up, but we have the same thing for her. We'll get this to her. Kristen Eloise.
All right.
And the police officers that responded so quickly. We have Officer Elvin Vasquez. Good job.
This is why we use the machine now. See how big these guys are? You break my ribs, buddy.
Officer Ryan Morrell.
Includes you too, Ryan. But if you have to, go ahead. Yes, sir.
And Officer Matthew DePerry. Congratulations. Great job. Well done. And now from the paramedics from MedStar, we have Joshua Gerard.
Hi, Mom. Told you guys, it's always called the mother. Nice job, Josh. Congratulations.
Colby Fisk.
Congratulations. Thank you.
And Brian Boucher. Should I come to that? Good job.
Just the, just those left, right?
Yes.
Those were all the events and everything. After the events are over, or while they're going over, there's a couple organizations in the background that work tirelessly to help the victims of the fires and these emergencies, and to make sure that they have another place to stay, clothing, immediate care, long-term care. They bring us refreshments at the fires. And then there was a special event that the mayor already touched on, I think, but was we had a group of school children that collected money for fire fund at the mayor. So I'd like to recognize those organizations, individually, have maybe a representative from each one, and maybe the mayor's staff come up also when we call them. But I'm going to start off with the Leominster Emergency Management. I know Director James LeBlanc is here. Got a Come up, gotta shake your hand, thank you. Would you like to have all your members stand? Sure. They know there's a bunch in the audience. Thank you all. Yeah, they have a system that's second to none. We have a fire. It's in a multifamily, single-family house, but in multifamily, there's a lot of people displaced. They show up with water and rehab for the firefighters. They show up with a bus to shelter the victims of the incident. They bring them back to their headquarters down Emergency Management on Carter Street. They call Red Cross. They make it easier for us to interview on trying to figure out how the fire started. They get them clothing, they bring them shopping, they get them animals cared for, they get them money, they top notch, probably one of the best in the state, if not the best. The best. And what goes hand in hand with that is Mayor Dean Mazzarella, he's always had a fire fund. And in the background is he had a certain amount of money, and you know, if Jim's they weren't around or it was multiple events, he himself or his staff would go down.
My staff.
They would actually use their own personal credit cards and rent rooms for people. And you know, the mayor reimbursed him. If he didn't, he should have. But they would be down there at 11 o'clock at night. And since then, the mayor's fire fund has really, this past couple fires, and I think before, is he had some generous donations. So again, the people out there that are listening or whatever is...
Just come up. I know they don't want to, but
Yeah,
they have to, or
but-
we're not leaving.
No, we want the mayor's office up.
Come on, come on.
Yes.
Get over it.
Come on, Michelle. Yes, yes.
Michelle, just come up. You guys, Melissa, they don't want to come up.
We ain't going, we're not moving on until you come up.
You know, we had a fire at Oxford Street Extension, I think it was. Remember that? It was, it was really bad.
I broke my foot at it.
Did you really?
I did. Came to work the next day.
All right, that's a scary. But everybody, and this is like a U-shaped street, a dead end, and there were people everywhere. We didn't know who was still in, who was out, who had left, who was working, and it got really confusing. But in the meantime, police, fire, everybody's doing their job. But we noticed little kids sitting on the side of the wall at that intersection there, and they're watching their house burn. There's nothing worse than that. And so we came up with this new, team effort. We came up with this new kind of community outreach program where it involved a whole slew of people so that we could take the victims of the fire, not have them sit there and watch their house burn while they're waiting for assistance or somebody to come to get them or a relative or whatever. And so we started this whole thing with emergency management, and then the rest is history, but it does make a difference. And again, I can't stress enough, the teamwork with everybody. It's not who gets the credit, it's the team gets the credit. And that's always the way it's been, and that's the culture that we really push. But that really set it off for me, and our staff in my office, they never want credit for anything, but trust me, they do it all. And if it's phone calls, staying up, working at a warming center, or a situation where they literally put up their own money so they can get hotel rooms so those kids wouldn't have to sit there and watch their house burn. So again, just part of the team. They never want credit. I couldn't even get them up. Thank you.
So we have Michelle, Wendy, Melissa, and then Diana's over here that didn't want to come.
Kelly's back in the office,
And Kelly's back in the office, but I can say, since I've been chief, I never realized, when you're on the line and stuff, you deal with the fire. But the aftermath there's a lot to do. And the mayor's office and then emergency management really help out. So as these fires were occurring and the publicity and everything was out there, a group of students at the Francis Drake School, they decided to do a freeze pop fundraiser where they took Freeze Pops orders from their family members and neighbors and everything. And the total was
$1,500.
$1,500.
$1,400.
It was $1,400, but somebody was in the audience and then decided to bring it to 15 for him, so. So we have a certificate for them, and we went down there last Friday, and we visited 3 fourth grade classes, and, you know, the mayor, you know, he was the lead, and he got to speak to all 4 groups and thank them and told them how it was important. And we wanted to bring him here, but it's how do you do it this time of the year? And so instead of bringing 1 or 2 and not the rest, because it was a team effort, we'll bring them their certificate, but we thank them for the city that, for what they did for the people.
Thank you, that's really nice.
Yeah. So a little long-winded, but I'd like to conclude unless someone up here has something they'd like to comment on. We want to make sure. Oh, AED. So AEDs, we have a representative from Stryker, and you know, Leominster's always in the market for the latest and greatest AEDs, but take a CPR course, know where your AEDs are, learn how to use them, don't be afraid to ask. And then the final closing is the safety net. So there was a company, what was it, before safety net, did the car radars on the car? LoJack system. We've had these devices in the fire department for a while, and people with Alzheimer's or you know, dementia, autism, is they would have a device, and if they got lost or they wander, is we have a device that we could track them. And when it came out, it was popular, and then it kind of went down again. Well, it's kind of resurrecting again because there's more and more people that, you know, have the need. So the mayor's office had hooked up with Safety Net, which, you know, that's the company now, and signed on to hand out 10 watches to residents of Leominster.
First batch is 10.
First
We'll do
batch.
more, we just don't know how many we need.
So we had refresher training. We've had the company in. All our devices are up to proper. We're going to have our yearly training coming up soon. But that's out there if you know anybody that needs one, or...
And it's a watch now. Very
Yeah.
comfortable. Before it was a device, people didn't really like it, but it's a watch now, right, Chief? So
Yep.
it's slap
Yep.
it on, and it's so much better and effective.
So give you a little education, safety net, CPI, AED. I want to thank everybody for coming. Huge, great turnout. Thank you very much. Just, I think the people that did the heroic deeds, you know, a lot of people showed up for you, so congratulations and keep up the good work.